Okay, so I'm going to sit here beside you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the lovely Diane Griffin, all the way from the States, United States.
Yes.
Yeah. So Diane and I have just finished our advanced workshop together, which was something pretty spectacular and mind-blowing. And Diane shared a lot of her wisdom with us during the 5 days with meditations that she ran in the morning, and they're really, really beautiful. I really love them. But you also spoke to us about the dolphin therapy in Freeport in the Bahamas. And we were all sitting here on our first night, and Leanne started to speak, and you could hear a pin drop because we were just so enthralled by it, and your experiences that you've had. It just sounds amazing. And we are actually going to do a shared connections in the Bahamas, so a group from Ireland. So it can be a group from anywhere, but it's a mixture of like family and friends. So I think we're going over on the 23rd of June till the 27th. And then after that, we have the option of staying on. But could you tell us a bit about shared connections and what would be involved in the 4 days?
Yeah, the shared connections that I took, and I believe that it's probably the way that they always do it, is that you have a day to swim with the dolphins, to get used to the dolphins. And the energy of the dolphins is very radiant and very big. So it's nice to get used to just being in their presence, which is also healing because they feel you, and they are so inclusive and so loving that it's great to be in their presence. And then you have a day where you're actually going to be doing therapy with them in the water, and it's going to be their choice. They are not contained in a small area. It's a very large area, and then they get released into that area to be given the freedom to come and be with you or not. But they usually do.
Okay.
And then they come and assess you.
Great.
In the dolphin way.
Yeah.
And then they begin to send frequencies to you and healing to you of whatever it is that you need, wherever it is that you need it.
Wow.
Through touching you with their rostrum, which is some people say their nose, but it's called a rostrum.
Okay.
Or maybe they come and lay against you.
Wow.
Or maybe they dive really deep and go way down. Maybe they play.
Yeah.
Depending on what the group needs and depending on what the person needs, they give you those frequencies. And then you go back and you can choose to be in the pool and be treated without gravity in a pool, which is really neat because you don't have the constraints that you normally have. You just have a lot of freedom.
You can do all this unwinding and 360, which is wonderful.
Some people really do a lot of rolling and moving. Some people it's a quieter one, more like a quiet session on the table because they just need that gentle balancing. Or you can go inside and you can work on the table if that's what you want or need. So you have your choice about what you want to do. And every morning you process what happened the day before.
Yes.
Some days, if the water's calm, you get to go and work in the ocean.
Okay.
Which is really beautiful.
Wow.
So I think that's kind of what your 4 days look like. And usually there is some table work in the morning before you go see the dolphins to get you ready and open and in the space that you need to be in to do whatever it is that you need to do.
Yeah, okay. And so with the idea, I suppose, of the shared connections is like it would be 50% of the group would be therapists, qualified therapists, and the other 50% are like family members or friends or somebody you want to introduce craniosacral to, like, isn't it?
Right. And those people that are not therapists are part of the whole thing.
Okay.
And they will actually be doing therapy with the therapist.
Okay.
Even if they're not trained, somehow they just pick it up and they do it.
Feels like, yeah.
And they may never do it again.
Yes.
Yeah, but everybody participates, and everybody participates all day long. So it's not something that the therapists are necessarily doing to the clients.
Yes, okay.
It's a group thing.
So you're not
everybody's working together.
Yeah, you're not exhausted as being just the therapist all day. There's just a moving dynamic.
Right, and sometimes it might be a group thing. You might be doing a group thing all together in the ocean or something.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
Sounds so fun.
I have to say it's one of the most amazing experiences of my life, which is why I made it a priority to do and come up with the money to go and do it. And I think it was not anything that I wasted money on. I think it was money that was well spent and really contributed to the quality of my life. And I do plan to go back.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Because, this is, I suppose for me, I remember when I started Cranio, whatever, 20 odd years ago, and they started to bring out the little video and of the dolphin therapy, and they said it was actually on the flights within America, you know. They would show the upload your video, you know, on your little screen at the back of your chair in the airplanes.
Yes.
And then we started seeing it, and I've just been enthralled by it. And then my daughter was born 13 years ago, and she needed support. And straight away, my intention was, I'm bringing her to the Dolphins. Intentions work. It's taken 13 years, but they work, like, you know. So yeah.
And really, no matter where you're at in your process, it can be an amazing support. So it could be from someone who has a physical struggle, to someone who has a spiritual struggle, to someone who doesn't even know what their struggle is. I think it's really relevant for anybody. There is a movie also that's more recent probably than the one you saw. I think it's called Touch or In Touch, and it's on the Upledger, one of the Upledger websites, the foundation page, or I might not be saying it correctly, but you could probably link it in somewhere.
Yeah, okay, I'll look into that. Thanks.
Yeah, it's like a half an hour long. It's really good.
Oh, right, okay. Actually, I think I might have seen it. I have seen it because, yes, I have seen it. Yeah,
with Ricky Williams, a football player.
Yes, and also then, so because we're coming from Ireland or for Europe, because it's open to everybody, just doesn't have to be an Irish group, I suppose, going over. Kat, who organised it, it's integrative
intentions.
Integrative intentions, yes. She has offered that the therapist can stay on to be part of DAT, which is a Dolphin Assisted Therapy program, which will be on 3 days later. Again, it's a 4-day workshop. And I think that's very rare. It's very unusual because you have to have quite experience of being in the water before you can go to be an assistant therapist on that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which of the classes that you need to take to be a support therapist, but you definitely need to take something.
Yes.
And you would want to check with Kat and make sure that you have what you need. But it is a great multiple hands-on sessions that you get to work with other people, which hones you to a whole new level. And then working with the dolphins in the water and having them be the lead therapist, and that team takes you to a whole new way of working with people that you may not even be able to put words to.
Wow. Okay. So the dolphins, you said, are the lead therapist?
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the dolphins are the lead therapist, and then they will show you where they're working with the client. They're going to be working and sending energy in there. So your level of presence is going to change. The way that the dolphins work with the people is maybe different, but the same in a way. It's just more expanded because they're more expansive, and they really can just look at what people need and be able to provide that.
Right.
So they're great teachers.
Okay.
And they're great fun.
Yes, yeah.
And also serious at the same time. So they work in a multitude of ways all at the same time.
Amazing. And so the layout for the day for the workshop, it would be like table in the morning, a kind of circle chair on the table, and then the afternoon is the dolphins, and you're with the dolphins for 4 days on that workshop then.
Yes. Okay. And then there is usually wrapping up. You usually come back from the dolphins, and then the client can choose to go in the pool or on the table.
Okay.
And then they're usually done by about 3:30.
Yes.
And then you do your notes.
Okay.
Because the notes have to be done, and then there's a practitioner meeting, and you go over what happened that was important, and typically only the lead therapist will speak at that, because there could be a lot of therapists, there could be like 20 something therapists.
Right, okay.
So if everybody talked, you would be there till the next day.
Okay.
So it's just focused, but the team that the lead therapist is with all get something to say at their individual little meeting before they go together and get into the bigger meeting. So everybody it is important and valuable and can speak what they need to speak, but just maybe not at that final meeting.
Okay. So when you were saying there's the opportunity to work on the table or go to the pool, are they away from each other? Like
I'm going to say it takes like maybe 3 or 4 minutes to walk from where the table is to where the pool is.
Okay, so that's quite close. It's not like, and then if you were to go to the Dolphins in the afternoon, you don't go from the table straight to the Dolphins. That'd be like after lunch you go to the Dolphins. And where are
Usually,
they in relation to where you'd been at the pool? Like?
I'm going to say it's like maybe a 15-20 minute drive, and you all pile into a van together, and then they dump you all off, and you wait. The time that you go to the Dolphins can change every day.
Right.
So you might be going in the morning. It depends on the other programs that they have going on, and it's really every day you have no idea. But they'll tell you in the morning what the structure is.
Because it is a facility. Could you tell us a bit more about the actual facility? Because it's not just for upledger, that the Dolphins are there. It's used for many different modalities.
Oh yeah.
But what's it like? Are the Dolphins? Are they wild? Are they bred?
There is. I think her name was Rubala, if I'm saying it right. She is the only wild dolphin there, and she's pretty old. She's, I'm going to say, between 30 and 40 years old.
Okay.
And she's been there for a very long time. Most of the other dolphins that are there right now have been born there.
Okay.
And the facility is quite big. It's not like SeaWorld.
Yeah.
They're not misused, and they're not put in a small environment. They're not unhappy. They're not sad and sickly, they're not lonely. They are all together as a group, and they seem quite happy. The facility is big. I've never been to where they kind of hang out. I think that's a little bit more on the edge. But then in the center, there's a really big area where they can go out and swim and play. And that's probably at least as big as a football field. And then there's some smaller areas, and that's a little more contained. They might be 50 by 50 feet.
And is this all natural in the sea, or is it a man-made pool?
It has seawater in it. It is salty seawater that's in it. And I don't know how they keep it open to keep that coming and going. I'm guessing the area is a bit protected, but the seawater does come in. And then in that area where they come in to do the treatment, it's very deep, except for a ledge is where the therapist stands with the clients, and then they hold the client out into the water by their feet, or they might hold the client with the body going across, or however the client feels comfortable. Like sometimes the kids are held backwards so they can see the dolphins come in, but however the client wants it, and whatever works the best is how you get held. But the therapist is standing on that edge of the ledge. So the dolphins can go deep if they want to, or they can swim in. Sometimes they swim behind you, and sometimes they'll put the nose on the back of or the rostrum on the back of the therapist, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
Or sometimes they're out in the deep water touching the person's head or their hand or whatever the person needs.
Okay. And would they be sending energy then through you?
Yes.
At the therapist?
Yes.
And you feel it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
You feel it even if when you're in the water. I mean, you feel the frequencies. You can't not be affected because the dolphins are sending them out, and it's not just contained. In fact, even if you're not in the water with the dolphins, one of the lessons that I learned, I was kind of disappointed one time because I wasn't getting in with the dolphins. I had to stay with someone who wouldn't go in the water, and I had to watch them. And it was really neat. She was kind of running up and down the dock, and I was kind of running up and down with her. But the dolphins were following us.
Oh, right.
And they were sending her frequencies up to where she was at.
Wow.
So even if you're not in the water, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
You are in that energy.
You're in the field.
And they know that you're there.
Yes, yeah.
They are aware of who's there.
Yeah.
And they seem very happy to help bring light and love and radiance and, happiness and connection and community to the people that are there, because I think that's what they came here for, and I think they know that. And then when people have that, they take that back. So the dolphins are making a really big difference with what they're doing, and I think they seem happy to do that.
Okay. And can I ask then, Because you were, the other night when we were chatting about it, you were saying that the dolphins, if there's a storm coming in, they kind of like as such open the gates so the dolphins are free to go wild, or they bring them out into the wild with the open.
Yeah, that's my understanding. And then my understanding is that they just come back of their own free will.
Yes. Okay.
And they also take a couple of them out they take a boat out, and then they take a couple of the dolphins, 2 or 3 of them out every day to get a long swim.
Okay.
And the dolphins could swim away if they want to.
Yes. Yeah,
they have their freedom. There's no way to keep them there. If they wanted to go somewhere, they could go somewhere, but that's their home.
Yeah.
And they're well cared for.
Yeah, and I think that's important to hear as well, because you want to know that they have a sense of choice and freedom if it's there, if they need it.
Definitely. I mean, I've had some other wild dolphin experiences, and the people that were running them were kind of, I guess, not thrilled about what's happening with the therapies. But I've been there, and I think I would know it if an animal was unhappy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the process and the frequencies that they're sending it, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
No more than if you're in a really tired, bad place on the as a therapist, you can't treat. Do you know that way? It's hard. So the dolphins, they wouldn't choose to be there.
Yeah, and I do think that is something that talking about is important, that they are not in bondage.
Yes. Yeah,
they have their choice. If they don't want to participate, they are not going to participate.
Yeah. And they're not performing dolphins, as you said, like at SeaWorld.
Well, they will sometimes perform, and they seem to love that.
True
like
choice,
they will sometimes go. At the end of the therapy, sometimes they'll do jump up and down a few times.
They play as they do.
Yeah, they play.
Yeah.
So sometimes they will do that. But it might not be safe during the therapies to do that. And you do get to, at the end, they do swim back and forth. They let you to pet their bellies and stuff. Okay. So that's pretty cool.
And can I ask then as well, because I mean, I'm coming from Ireland, I'm very fair skin, and we don't get a lot of sun. What would you recommend to wear if I was in the pool or in the sea, in the water? Like what?
Everybody's different, but for me, I don't really like to put a lot of sunscreen on because it makes me feel, I don't know, I just don't like it that much.
Then it's in the water.
And then it gets in the water for the dolphins. So I wear something called a rash guard. So it's kind of like a swimming suit that's made like a shirt.
Okay.
And then a pair of long pants. So it's tight.
Yes.
To your body. Well, I mean, the shirts aren't that tight, but it's, fairly form-fitting to the body, and it goes down to your wrist. So I rarely put much sunscreen on, and then I wear a very wide brim hat. I put my hair right up on the top of my head, and then my hat is open at the top, and then it's a very wide brim, so I don't even put sunscreen on my face.
Okay. And you don't get the reflection from the water back up to your face then? That doesn't bother you?
I was worried about that.
Okay.
But it didn't ever seem to happen.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that somebody couldn't be fairer than me, because I will tan.
Yeah.
But I am fair skinned. I
don't.
Like if I'm at home in the U.S. and I'm out for an hour, I will have a pretty bad burn. I'll get a burn from it. So I don't really want to have my skin exposed a lot.
Yeah.
Possibly if we go in the pool in the afternoon, I possibly might put a little sunscreen on the top of my feet and possibly on my hands. If it's a really, really sunny day, it's possible I might put a little bit on my face.
So the pool is outdoors as well?
Yes.
See, in Ireland, everything's indoors, so I can't even visualise, we will be outside in the pool.
So it's so beautiful to be in the elements. And it's actually, even when it rains, it's really cool to be holding your client in the water and being water level with your eyes and seeing how the raindrops hit the water.
Oh, gorgeous.
So, because you're wet. Doesn't matter if it rains.
Exactly, and I never understand that when I'm on the beach and we're in the water and it starts to rain and everybody gets out of the water. I'm like, you're wet,
Yeah, right. Well, if there's a thunderstorm that's close by, you might have to get out. Yeah. But if it's just some rain coming down, it's a really nice experience to feel that on your skin and just be in the elements and recenter.
Wow. And what about then accommodation around? Do you just stay in Airbnbs and stuff like that, or is there an actual facility to stay?
Yeah, I do stay I've stayed in various Airbnbs. I like to cook my own food, so I like to go in a day or two early.
Yeah. Just
to go to the store, get my food, maybe prepare some things, because it's long days.
Okay.
I make my own lunches. I might eat out a little bit, but sometimes somebody else's food doesn't work for me for a long
I
time.
know the
So a lot of
feeling,
times I prepare ahead of time so that I have some of my own food, and then I'll eat out with the group sometimes. And but then after a long day, sometimes I just like coming back and having my own food and then processing, because I think both the shared connections for me was intense, and I also think being a therapist in the intensive is also intense, because you are working with that energy, around that energy, and being present in a large way, all day. So, taking care of yourself is important, and not thinking that you're going to be going out and, you're probably not going to be partying, because you don't have time for that.
Well, I'm going to have 2 kids with me, so.
You're going to be wanting to rest at night, no matter what you want to do. And, maybe at the end of things, there might be a little more freedom. But it's a worthwhile experience.
And what's the island then of Freeport? Because it's on Freeport. It is Freeport. Some people think there's other areas, but you have to go into Freeport. There's only one flight into Freeport, kind of such.
There is. There's only one direct flight from the U.S. I'm not sure about the other countries because I never came from there, but I know that people come from around the world and they seem to get there. And they seem to get there on time, so I'm guessing it works. And you could also stay right there where the morning activities are, where the meetings are. There's also facilities right there.
That's Pelican Bay.
Pelican Bay. Okay. So you could stay right there, and that's a really beautiful facility. They have beautiful rooms with nice balconies, and they do have refrigerators in the room. So you could still do some of your own stuff. You couldn't really cook.
So it's more, though, a kind of a hotel room rather than a apartment.
It is. It's a nice hotel room. They have tiled floors and nice beds. I think it's a very nice hotel, and the people there seem to be really sweet and wonderful. It's a little more expensive than staying at an Airbnb, and the other thing is it would be really convenient if you've never been there before for going back and forth.
Right. Okay.
It will save you that time, and then it's going to give you some more freedom. So that's the great thing about it, is it gives you more freedom with being there and being present there, but you're not going to be able to cook. So you have to decide what's important to you. Yeah,
true. And I much prefer to cook the same when I'm away. It's nice to eat out, but like that, it's nice to eat the foods, that you can see what's on them. And see what you're getting. But what's Freeport like as a town? Like, so if I had a few days extra to hang out,
there are some things to do. You could go scuba diving at the opposite end of the island.
Wow.
And there are some other things that you could do. There's some boat tours, and you could go swim with the dolphins. If you hadn't had enough dolphins, you can go and just swim with them, and not really with the healing intention, more for just fun.
Experience,
And you could also go and be trainer for the day with the dolphins, and then you can spend the whole day with the dolphins. And I'm not sure exactly what they offer with that these days, but I think that people have done it and have enjoyed that.
So you kind of go and just be a support to how they
with the trainers,
cleaning them, washing them, whatever has to be done for the day.
Learn how to feed them, learn how they take care of them, and you'll get a different experience with them.
So, like, I suppose my son, he goes to the stables and helps out in the stables with the horses and washes them, brushes them, feeds them, cleans them out, and muck them out and everything. So you'd be doing that for the dolphins.
Exactly.
That'd be amazing.
And I if you're interested in that, you could just check and see what they include with that. But definitely when I go back there again, I'm going to book that for myself.
Okay.
Either before or after, whatever works out.
Wow. And it's I presume it's Bahamas, so I say it's just beautiful and picturesque.
The beaches are absolutely beautiful, and it's really nice to go to the beaches because the waves. Well, the beaches are a very slow, gentle slope, so you don't feel like it's going to just drop off all of a sudden. It seems like it's like really friendly for being in there. And because it's more southern, the waves are smaller.
Okay.
If there's a storm coming in, they're going to get bigger.
But we won't have it then.
Overall, the waves are very gentle and absolutely beautiful turquoise beaches with the sand is just wonderful. And it's a very light kind of atmosphere there.
Okay. How did you manage to leave?
I don't know, but one of the other things is there's water taxis that can take you back and forth.
Oh, okay.
So for me, with the place that I stay is by, I forget what the name of it is. It's a bay, but you can take the water taxi over. So when I go home at the end of the day to where I stay, I take the water taxi over,
Okay.
which
how
is part of my
beautiful.
fun.
Yeah, because you're seeing the island from a different perspective, and we don't usually see the world, our world, from the water.
Yeah, it's Taino Beach is the
Taino.
name of it. So
Okay.
you could actually take, that would be a fun day trip, would be to take the water taxi over to Taino Beach, Taiano Beach. And then you could stay there for the day and then take the water taxi back.
Oh, wow.
Which is fun.
Yeah, okay. That's a great idea. I have loads.
And
loads
they
of
also
planning.
have a fish fry one of the evenings. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday night. They have a fish fry on the beach, and locals love you to come to that, and they're singing and partying,
Oh,
and
wow.
they have a great time.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just letting that sink into my tissues. I can just feel like I'm there. It's just like, and as guys, I'm sitting here, we're looking out the window. There's a red weather warning. There's a storm on the way, and it's hammering rain outside. So just visualizing the Bahamas is just really taking me away. So
I think, unless you hate dolphins and the beach, you probably would like it.
Yeah,
probably a really great experience.
I have absolutely no doubt. It sounds like I am. It's just even bringing tears to my eyes, touching me, thinking about it, going how amazing it's going to be for me and my family, So thank you so much for sharing that information.
Yeah, you're welcome. I hope it helps.
It's very valuable listening to it. It really is. It's I can't stop smiling. I'm just so excited about it. And there is only 6 places available on the workshops. 6 places already been filled. So if it's something that you were considering to do get in touch with me straight away.
Yeah,
I
wish you like a lot of fun and healing when you go down there for you and your family.
Oh, thank you. And maybe we might see you at that. You never know.
You might. You might. You never know.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.